crazy. It's getting crazy around these parts. Teofimo Lopez, he drops his hit list, the fighters he wants to fight the most, and he names 3 fighters, all black fighters. In this video, I'm going to break down what he said last night, ESPN, and give my overall thoughts. So if you like the content, if you gain any value from the content after watching it, subscribe. Teofimo, definitely not one to hold back. He was on ESPN. They had the Navarrete versus Valdez fight. I did a full fight breakdown, so you guys can check that on the channel. Valdez got destroyed, dominated in the rematch. Teofimo was at the podium with Mark Kriegel. This is what he had to say. Roll the clip.
Yeah.
If you could wave a magic wand, really, who do you want?
Let me see. Jaron Ennis boots, Gervonta Davis, and finish with Terence Crawford. Fuck yeah. Sorry for my language. Yeah.
Boom. So you heard him. Teofimo said if he could wave a magic wand and make 3 fights in this game right now, the fights he would choose would be Jaron boots Ennis, Gervonta Davis, and none other than Terence Bud Crawford, a guy he keeps calling out for whatever reason. And apparently Teofimo thinks it's sweet with Terence Crawford. Listen, I'm going to be real, like I always am on the channel. The hit list is cool and all, but this generation has completely redefined call-outs, and not in a good way. What do I mean? This new generation is too accessible to call people out, meaning we got social media. You can see a person fight and immediately react. And these are celebrity pro athlete boxers, so everybody sees your response pretty instantaneously once you send the tweet or whatnot. And for that reason, it's just watered down the game because anybody can call out whoever they want. And now it doesn't even have to make sense. It doesn't matter if it is rightful or if it's logical or if they deserve the fight. It's just, I'm going to call them out and I'm going to put this wish list, this hit list out there and see what the public has to say, you know, and that's kind of what Teofimo is doing. And just to give you guys an example. So boxing ego, who you want to date? Okay. Give me Margot Robbie, give me Halle Berry, and I want Zendaya. See, you see how easily that works? Margot Robbie, Halle Berry, Zendaya. No other steps. That give me them. You know, it really, like I said, it means nothing. Zendaya, is she with Tom Holland? Halle Berry, is she with a dude? You know, Margot Robbie just had a baby. Like, you could call out whoever you want, but it don't mean you gonna get that. You dig? So that's kind of how I see it. Make sure you guys follow me on social media. We're trying to get to 65,000. The link is in the description, so you guys could definitely check that out. I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close, but you already knew that. So, you know, the hit list is cool and all. Teofimo saying he wants Jaron Ennis and Gervonta Davis and Terence Crawford. Like, here's the thing. If I'm being honest, like I always am on the channel, to be real, he might not win any of those fights. I've seen the past sparring with Tank Davis and Teofimo, and Tank was tearing off on him. You can like, oh, he was young, he was 19. I don't care about none of that. I know what I seen, and I seen what I seen. If anything, Tank is more consistent. Let's be real. We got to be real with it. Tank is more consistent. You get the same consistent performance out of Tank. Teofimo, however, that's not the case. You get this Teofimo that is impressive versus Lomachenko. Say what again? I dare you, right? You get this Teofimo versus Loma that impresses you, or Josh Taylor, and then he fights a Kambosos and gets dropped in the first round and goes on to lose and basically do a Broner job in the post-fight. Y'all know I beat that boy, and he really lost. You know, you fight a Steve Claggett and like Pedro Campa and guys like that, and you don't really look consistent. You don't look consistent at all. So calling out Gervonta Davis, Jaron Boots Ennis, and Crawford. And here's the thing. Crawford's 37, and he's at 54. So I don't know if that fight will happen. Crawford tried to fight him in the street. He said, give me a street fight. I'm good with the street fight. You know what I mean? Teach him a lesson. As far as Jaron Boots Ennis, listen, I will say this. I'll be real with you guys. The way things have been playing out for Boots Ennis is a bad look, because now people think it's sweet. There was a time where Jaron Boots Ennis was definitely feared, and he was looking like a boogeyman in the game, and people were like, he was like Candyman. Rest in peace to my boy Tony Todd. You know, rest in peace to Tony Todd. But Jaron Ennis was like a name you really wouldn't utter, because he represented high level of danger and risk, and then the reward might not be adequate. So people weren't really calling him out. But after his last two performances, people are saying, oh, he getting hit too much. Boots is getting hit too much. And people are looking at it a little bit different. And then on top of that, people are saying that he ducked, which I do believe it doesn't look good, you know, in the Virgil Ortiz situation. Listen, the way they handled it was bad. The way they handled the Virgil Ortiz, he's talking about the wires got crossed and all that, but at the end of the day, it looks bad for you and your team. You appointed these people them to positions, and at the end of the day, it looked bad how the fight played out, the negotiations for the fight, and now you're being called out by people underneath you. So again, boxing is a what have you done for me lately type of sport. So people, they truly kind of pick on you a bit more when things aren't necessarily going smooth for you, right? When you're at your worst and people see vulnerabilities, or they see the chinks in the armor, people are like, okay. And then people start mentioning your name. Whereas before, like I said, with Boots, you didn't really see it. You didn't really see a bunch of people chomping at the bit to fight a Jaron Ennis. And now people are like, yo, give me Ennis, including people like Teo. Teo's never even fought in the 147-pound division, and he's calling for this. So it's kind of a sign of where Jaron's career is, and he's going to have to silence people and put on, you know, make his next move his best move and put on a strong performance or something, fight a good name. And that's what I got to say about that. As far as Tank and Terence Crawford, I definitely don't see Teo beating them. And again, Teo's complained about not making more than $1 million take home in none of his fights. So it sounds like he's kind of looking for a big fight in the payday. You know, he's had some issues with Top Rank. Who knows? Top Rank, they're likely to lose their ESPN deal. So his next move is paramount. If they lose their deal, like, are any of these fights, can you facilitate any of these fights? You dig? How is Top Rank going to get this done? And like Top Rank, from what I've seen, they don't like to they're not in the overpay business. So they're not going to give Terence Crawford, they already have like kind of a fractured relationship with Terence Crawford. They're not going to give Bud Crawford like mega millions to fight Teofimo. And Bud is going to want that, because he's going to be like, it's a waste of my time. I'm already more accomplished than Teofimo. He's in a lighter weight class. Basically what Canelo is saying about Terence Crawford, he would probably say to Teofimo. So, you know, it's a cold game right now. And that's where we're at with it. T.O.'s calling out people. Again, I called out in this video Margot Robbie, Halle Berry, and Zendaya. You know what I mean? What does that mean? Does that get me any closer to those ladies? Absolutely not. So you're going to have to show me they're going to have to show me some moves because where is Teofimo? He fought Claggett, and he just been kind of MIA outside of a call-out. So I got to see. This new generation ruined it for call-outs to me. So I got to see more than a dang call-out because a call-out means nothing. Keyshawn calling out Tank, knowing he ain't going to get the fight. You have Teofimo calling out Tank. Clearly Tank's big business. Crawford, he's looking for mega fights. He feels he's deserving of a lot of money. So I feel like Crawford, if the deal don't make sense, he definitely not going to entertain it. So we'll see what's next for Teofimo. I think the most reasonable fight that's attractive that can be made is Devin Haney and Teofimo, because Devin's kind of a free agent operator-ish. So there's really no reason that fight can't come into fruition. And then on top of that, I would say Keyshawn Davis, because he's naming 3 fights. I don't know what T.O.'s on with this black stuff. He calling people monkeys and banana, and ESPN can keep the blacks. He has a hit list with all black fighters. Like, that's the only people he want to fight. He ain't calling out nobody else. But for me, outside of like who you chose, like you chose 2 guys that fought their last fight on DAZN, Crawford and Boots, Tank, who's at A side with PBC. How easy are those fights to facilitate for Teofimo and Top Rank? You said you ain't never made $1 million take home. You know what I mean? And it's funny to me because you got a guy like Keyshawn Davis with the same people as you, with the same network that you're on, and Brian Norman, and you're calling out 3 other black fighters that aren't necessarily close to your situation. And to me, fights like Devin Haney, I just went over, Keyshawn, and Brian Norman, those seem, at least in my opinion, easier for Top Rank to facilitate in terms of purse demands and proximity, because they're kind of in-house fights minus Devin Haney, but he's worked with Top Rank to make the Loma fight and 2 Kambosos fight. So why couldn't Devin Haney go back to Teofimo and Top Rank, or go back to Top Rank to fight Teofimo? Listen, if you gained any value from this video, subscribe. I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. I got it locked when it comes to this boxing game. Been doing it 10 plus years. If you enjoy the content, share it with your friends and come back. I got some more videos. Check them out. Holla.